Hello and welcome to today's webinar about the EDGY Sandbox. My name is Wolfgang Goebl, and I know a couple of names who are here today, so maybe some of you may know me and Helgi, of course. I'm one of two presidents of the Intersection Group and a not-for-profit association with the only purpose to help people create better enterprises. And together with me today, Helgi is here. Helgi, who are you?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. From Stockholm, no, Falun, Sweden, right?
Oh, from Falun, Sweden.
Okay.
Small town, Sweden.
Yeah, Joost is here from Amsterdam. I don't know if it's also spring already coming. So what is it? What will we be talking about today?
Yeah. We'll be looking into the toolbox, looking a little bit on the sandbox and looking a little bit into the simple and fun tools that we are, our community is primarily creating, our members are creating and publishing and making available to everyone to help make our lives a little bit easier.
Recording will be available, the usual administrative stuff. So there will be recordings be sent to every registrant so you can share it to your friends and colleagues. Yeah, I think that's it, and we can start. No? Yes, I think we can. Whenever there's a question, just post it to the chat. So we have two people here today who are keen to reply to the questions. So if you have special questions about the sandbox, whenever they come up, just write them to the chat, and Helgi or I will try to answer to them. So what is EDGY? When I ask this question, people who know us already, and I see lots of familiar names in the webinar today, they say it's a language to help people create better enterprises. But in Rome at the Intersection Conference 2024, we moved this a bit away. It used to be a language in 2023 when we first announced it and launched it. But in 2024, we said, well, maybe our vision is a bit bigger. So what we want to see around EDGY is a tool set. So we want to bring together great practitioners, experienced, seasoned practitioners and their tools and connect them to EDGY. We know how vast the number is of tools out there. Software architecture tools, SWOT analysis, customer journey maps, blueprints, every disciplines, and there are hundreds of disciplines out there. They have their heroes and they have their event storming, and I can't list them all. We know it's a bit of a crazy world. We have so many communities with tools that are not always connected with each other. So the idea, I think the vision we have with EDGY in total, and the sandbox is an important step in the direction of this vision, is to say, well, EDGY at the end, it's a platform. It's an open source platform for enterprise design tools. So what we created and what we published in 2023 with the language and the patterns, 3 years before, we published the pattern book. But there are more patterns we can imagine. So over time, probably there will be more, and these will evolve as well. And we will have principles. We already have some. Hopefully, we're going to publish them also this year or so. So we see something like the Holy EDGY Foundation. So that's not really open source and everybody should edit. Of course, please provide feedback if you have something you want to have changed in the language or you don't like in the patterns. We are a community. It's a not-for-profit and it's a community project, EDGY. So whenever you have a feedback on the elements, on the core language of EDGY, send it to us. And I've heard some rumors that some people are already working on a major upgrade. I wouldn't say major, but a significant upgrade to EDGY. Well, let's see. We're working on that as well. So whenever you have feedback on the foundations, please send them to us. And how can we relate tools on top of this platform? So these lines, what do we mean with that? On the one hand, we could see tools written by Intersection Group. Yeah, so capability modeling guidelines, if you have followed my webinar, we published them last year at the conference. They are online already. Helgi, you published the scan 1 year before. So these are large tools written by us, comprehensive, quite comprehensive, not huge, but comprehensive, I would say. Milky Way, it's in the sandbox, and then we have Eero in the room. I'm super happy that we have people from Finland, especially Eero, which is probably the person who contributed most to the EDGY universe with his cookbook. Yes, and Eero, we have a couple of your tools. You created them already in the sandbox. Yeah, so maybe tools coming from various directions like journey journey mapping or stakeholder maps and so on. Yeah? So in theory, the list is endless. We could have an infinite amount of tools on top of that. So that can be quite crowded over time. Yeah? So the idea with the sandbox is to collect the ideas and the tools from you guys, from experienced seasoned practitioners that say, well, wouldn't it be easy to connect safe to EDGY? I think it's easy. I could write it, by the way. And we hear that often from practitioners that say, well, I have my tool. It's quite straightforward if I connect the tool to the EDGY elements, which means I connect my tool to the platform and what I want to have and open source it. It's available for everybody. And because it's connected to the platform, that means that other tools that are also connected to the platform can interact. Yeah? So the idea is over time that we generate an ecosystem of tools coming from a growing audience of practitioners. So that's the idea with the foundations. And whenever a question comes up, please post it to the chat. So that's the idea, the long-term idea. So you will see over time more and more green tool like capability modeling, scan, the Milky Way. And the first version, the first platform to publish it is the EDGY Sandbox. So it's the first stage before we publish it on enterprise.design as an official tool. So any questions so far? Okay, then. You can take your mobile phone and scan this barcode. So maybe it's not a bad idea, yeah? If you just, so I enlarge this window again, just scan this barcode, because then you can skim it on your mobile phone and can look at it, while Helgi and I, while Helgi and myself dive into the sandbox itself. Yeah, so our idea for this session is to show a bit, to skim and to browse a bit across the EDGY Sandbox, yeah, which is available. If you can go to enterprise.design and you will find the EDGY Sandbox, or you use the barcode I just showed on the previous page. Yeah, so it's implemented on top of a wiki. It's a conference wiki. Maybe that's not the most important thing. And if you want to contribute, so if you have an idea, I want to publish the tool XYZ, message us. Yeah? So we believe EDGY Sandbox is the future of EDGY. We invite contributors from tool makers, new and widely used. It's an open sandbox. It's a space to build and get feedback by other people. So the idea is to open source them. And the idea is also to have stages. No? So we can start with ready for review, stubs. So stubs are earlier ideas. Ready for review are quite comprehensive tools if you want. No? And as you can see, in this second, we have, I think, around 10 of those tools. Two quite comprehensives. The Milky Way, there was already a webinar about the Milky Way. And the EDGY Profiler, another comprehensive tool. So I think my question for today is there any particular tool of interest you want to dive into? So if there is, then please post it to the chat. Otherwise, I don't know, Helgi, is there a particular tool you are interested in, or maybe you want to say a couple of words about?
No, I just wanted to add a little bit to what you're saying and maybe emphasize a little bit the fact that the sandbox is not intended to be like it's supposed to be easy to publish things into that, so that and the idea is not to have something, a comprehensive tool, and often people maybe think that a tool is a little bit big of a word for what we may be publishing in the sandbox. Because it is just a way, it's a methodology or a way to use EDGY on top of a current another discipline's methodology, or integrating different methodologies, in any way helping people from different disciplines to use the same modeling or same mapping in a collaboration setting. So it's all about just, is there something, do you have like a good way that you found was helpful, for you on how to use EDGY within within some project or initiative that you're working on, that you think that, I mean, this might be interesting for other people, then this is something we're definitely interested in. And then you don't have to put in a lot of extra effort into like a comprehensive description, like we have in the, for example, in the capability mapping and the capability guidelines and the scan. That is something that comes then in the next step, if you want to take it a little bit further and give people more instructions. And maybe you can just jump into the sandbox and take a look at a couple of the more simple tools.
Maybe start with a quite simple one, maybe so that
exactly.
to understand the basic structure, because we have a simple template, so every tool has a name, of course. This is a stakeholder map. And then we have the purpose of the tool in one sentence. So the idea is to show all stakeholders relevant to your enterprise in a simple
Wolfgang, were you thinking about jumping into the webpage, or you still see on the slide, I think?
No, it's in the webpage. Do you see this, the webpage? Am I sharing the wrong screen?
I think you're still sharing the presentation.
Okay. I think that's it.
There we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. Now we are.
That's it. Okay.
You can make it take down the get response window.
Exactly. Okay. So that's the stakeholder map. That's the name of the map. And then purpose in one sentence. We want to keep it simple. Of course, we want to credit the author. So Eero, I know you are here today. Of course, the author is listed. That's important to us. It's not my tool. We don't steal tools from people. And it's just a stub, because the stub means, okay, you can get some inspiration from that, and from that, and Eero already put some effort into writing 2 paragraphs about this tool, but it's not quite comprehensive. But it's already helpful for a practitioner to say, okay, I can look at this example. That's quite basic. But I can do it with EDGY elements. So I can use the EDGY element person and say, okay, that's the organization. And then I draw a next circle, partners. And then you have a couple of partners and customers and so on. So the idea is super basic, and Eero and intersection group, we did not invent it. I don't know who invented it. Everybody does similar things. I think what's strong is that we have an example from an EDGY usage, but we have a text, we have 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. What is it all about? Can be defined for the enterprise. One of its part consists of circles. So you have some advice, but of course you could always extend it, provide better examples. So the idea is already, if you want to contribute, if somebody, so that's the first stub version by Eero. If you want to extend, if you have 100 years of experience in stakeholder mappings and want to add even more substance, more example, whatever, get in touch, because we want to make this a community project. And then we will give you an access to this wiki conference page, and you can edit it, and there will be a simple review process, and then we're gonna publish it again if it's okay. So the idea is it's a truly open source. You check in. The check-in, of course, there will be a short peer review for quality reasons, but not quite comprehensive. And I think that's the process.
And in here, it's like you see, this is a really simple tool, like Wolfgang said. But this addresses a big problem, at least one of the biggest problems that I often have when I'm trying to model things, is the blank paper problem. Just sitting in front of a white paper and not really knowing how should I actually. How should I put forth this? How should I model this information that I have? I need to put it in a pretty simple way, and then I get to, okay, if it's a stakeholder model, then here I have a simple example of how that can be done. And if you go into Wordly mapping tool, then if I'm working with Wordly mapping and I'm also working with EDGY, then it's a question of I don't have to invent the wheel on how can I combine the two. Here I have a simple proposal of how I can do it. It's not the only way. It's really important also to keep that in mind, that this is probably not the only way to complement Wordly mapping with EDGY, but it is one way. And looking at this, it means that I can jump in a little bit faster myself without having to think about how do I actually get these things together. So that's very often the thing. It's just help us a little bit on the way, make it a little bit simpler. And the more tools we get into this into the sandbox, the more often we can actually find something that can help us in those simple little moments that can just make it a little bit easier for us to get going and start with modeling instead of trying to figure out how to design things or combine things and stuff like that.
I think, of course, we will never be the #1 experts in Wordly mapping. I'm sure that is Mr. Simon Wardley and also his books and papers, and you can get a lot of stuff only on Wordly mapping. That's his one and only one map. EDGY is way bigger than only one map. But if you're fascinated by Wordly maps, of course, it makes sense to read his material or lots of content about Wordly mapping. We don't want to copy paste everything, so we don't want to just dump everything in. It's a delicate balance between showing an example, so that's how EDGY can be modeled in Wordly mapping, which helps to connect the elements to other maps. I think that's the strength. Yeah, now I have a clearly defined element, a capability, for example, or a task, a self-service, which is an EDGY task, and we have a relation to other EDGY elements. So now the strength of the language comes into play. So the idea is, side by side, I can have another EDGY diagram, which may be appropriate in your certain design challenge, a task map or a task journey map, whatever, where you dive deeper into this EDGY elements. So as we know, EDGY maps and elements are related, can be related to each other. And maybe that's the extension we bring to Wordly map. So it's no longer only a circle and an element in the Wordly map. It is an EDGY element, in that case, capabilities and tasks. So that adds semantics and helps to connect to the platform. I think that's the idea here. And maybe what we didn't mention so far is all of our tools are assigned to the same structure. So we want to say, okay, in which phase of the design process is this tool typically used? And in that case, we say, in the early phases, in the focus, first I have a certain brief, that's my design problem, I need to focus, I need to explore, maybe I need to explore the problem better, I need to reframe, look at it from all facets, from various angles and so on. And then I start co-creating. That means I have hopefully many people showing on a flip chart or on a pin board, working on the same Wordly map. That's already a co-creation. Just add a couple of people modeling a Wordly map for a certain situation, a certain context. That's the idea. But maybe this tool is not so well suited for investment decision making. It's not a dashboard for managers. It's maybe a bit helpful in the realization phase, but it's not really a tool that connects us to IT implementation. implementation. It's not like a Scrum or a user story, which is way closer to realization, if you say, and so on. So that's the first way so we have 3 dimensions. So maybe it's 1 dimension. One is where are we in the design process? The second one is what's the scope? In that case, we see architecture and experience, no identity. Architecture, blue, capabilities, experience, the tasks here, but we are not talking about in any way about what are the purposes of this diagram or about this situation. Green facet is not present in this map. So that's why we say, okay, here it's not about the enterprise, it's connecting experience. We look from the client side and follow the value if you want to the task, but no identity in here. And the third dimension is the flight level. And we have 3 flight levels. The highest one, if you want, is the strategic flight levels, where you model quite broadly across the enterprise. Coordination level would be more on a project portfolio level, where you model a certain project or a certain part of the enterprise. You zoom, it's like zooming into an intermediate level. And operational levels, over time, we want to see more and more tools that connect EDGY to implementation, for example, to IT implementation. So I think a connector to Scrum, Epics, user stories, so the whole world of agile software development would be more than welcome, because EDGY wants to build a bridge or connect the strategic high-level designs with the bits of the implementation. We are nowhere if we only do high-level strategic designs that are never implemented by implementation teams. But in that case, the Wardley map, the way we show it here, it's about mapping strategic scenarios. That means it's on a very high flight levels. So Helgi, I can see the chat. Do we have any questions so far?
Yeah, we got one question about a stop tag. I'm not sure what it's actually been talked about. I am surprised by the stop tag. To me, it signals there is nothing in the selection. Let's see. A stop is an unfinished page. I'm not sure about what. Do you understand what it is? But your stakeholder map stop does show the basic of a stakeholder map. But there's some. Is that the tag on the left of the in the navigation?
No, I think that's the. I think stop, ready for review, ready for proofreading, ready for final review, published. So the wave until we hit enterprise design on the right side, published means it's published on enterprise.design. So it's more of an official tool. So I could go to, we have the official EDGY is on enterprise.design. You all hopefully know this page. And so far we have the language and you can click into the elements. That's where we started, with a language of elements. But if you go to the toggle menu, you see that we already have some tools. Our flagship tool, the Enterprise Scan, there will be a training coming up in March. Helgi has created this tool. It's quite comprehensive. And it took us, I think, Helgi, 3 years or so until we published it. And I don't know, 5 rounds of peer reviews. I spent 1 day with my shortening hammer and so on, which means the quality we want to see on enterprise.design, we try to keep it as high as possible. We don't want to have fluffy language and inconsistencies. So everything that is published on enterprise design must fit together, which may not be the case for tools just dropped in the sandbox. So in enterprise design, there's the menu, sandbox menu. So I can go back to the sandbox again. And I say, okay, I'm interested in the stakeholder map, but caution, it's only a stub. This is a stub. So if you want to bring it to enterprise.design, that may be some month time. It depends if somebody is super motivated and says, okay, I want to create the best stakeholder map and connects it maybe a bit better and write writes more substance, then we would go to the right, and finally somebody from intersection group will peer review it. And of course we want to see more and more tools on the official side, but what we want to prevent is that the enterprise.design becomes a basket or something, a trash basket. No, that's something where you dump in your stuff. So we must have some way to assure the quality. And in the sandbox, the tools that are there have a certain quality. They are at least, they make sense. Yeah, they may need more polishing up, for example. Like the stakeholder map, probably we could write, somebody can add to it and so on. I think that's the idea with stub, from stub to published.
So it's really important to keep in mind what the sandbox really is. We just found that creating a tool that we were really comfortable with, and thought that, I mean, this is something that we can publish. This is something that has the instructions, the information required for people to be able to adopt it without really having to do much work. So you have all the information to actually assist people in starting to use it by themselves. We found that took quite a lot of time, and very often it took quite a lot of people to be involved in that. And at the same time, we had multiple people in the community that were doing really, really interesting things. And we just wanted to make sure that we still want to get these things, these interesting ideas out to the community without being an obstacle for actually bringing that out. So that's basically it. So the sandbox is a little bit more raw. It's not as finessed or fine polished, but it's still really interesting tools that and ideas and methodologies that we can start using in our everyday life and in our work. So that's why basically everything in the sandbox is still kind of in the review phase.
And as you can imagine, the vision is quite big. Yeah, we want to be the platform, the open source platform for enterprise design tools of any kinds. So the benefit for the authors is credibility. Yeah? So we want to be a strong brand. And if you are on enterprise.design, if you manage to be an author on top of the EDGY platform, then you must be a renowned author. So with that, we are not there yet, probably, but over time, hopefully, and I'm quite convinced, not hopefully, our brand will build up and will build credibility, which means we want and hope to attract more and more authors. Currently, I would say we have 10 or so. It's growing with Eero. Once again, thank you very much for your contribution. A lot is being written by you, Eero. The vision is big, but of course we need a review process that scales. So we don't have the final answer what it would mean if we had not 10 authors but 100. That means we need to define a strict review process similar to Wikipedia. So that means we need to design and refine our review process. So far, 1, 2, or 3 people are reviewing this stuff. And of course, we don't scale infinitely. So we don't know exactly how we will scale it, but we will scale it over time. And we want to attract more and more authors, which means we need more and more peer reviewers and so on. And we need to have a more and more, a better and better review process. Helgi, something to add?
No, not really. It's just you just came with another question into the chat. Is there a description of the stages and how to progress pages through these stages? No, we have discussed it. If we should create or produce a more standardized process or something like that, and we feel at the moment that we don't really have the organization to support that. So at the moment, it's a little bit more flexible. So if you contact us and you have a tool, then we will start with just doing a basic review, getting the basic information and getting into the sandbox. And if you want to then take it a little bit further, then you will be assigned one of the people of one of the authors that Wolfgang is talking about. And we will together go through the stages and see to it that you will get the support you need to actually make it into a more comprehensive tool, ready tool. So that's kind of what we do right now. It's more of it's a little bit flexible process at the moment that we will support each other with going through those stages.
But expect in the next year, next 2 years, a lot to come. Yeah, in Brussels at our conference, we already showed again EDGY. So some people are working on the connection between EDGY and the world of strategy, Roger Martin, and a lot of strategy tools. How can we combine enterprise design and a language, a design language, with the classical, I would say, world of strategy, which is a huge world, the whole management consulting work and so on. But they are typically not using a design language. So those are management consultants, maybe working with some SWOTs, different approaches, the big consultancies, strategy consultancies and so on. That could be a strategic direction for EDGY in general, with EDGY, which may be a tool available next year, hopefully, that explains how we can bring design to the world of management consulting. A couple of people are working on that already. Let's see when something shows up, maybe first in the sandbox and later as a published version.
And even in the sandbox, you get like what you were talking about, where you were showing with the different categories that we're talking about. They actually give a good hint into other things that we are working on. For example, the stages that you go through in development stages. That is something what we call the EDGY loop, which is something we also hope to have ready within this year to be able to publish. And then the flight levels, that is not an intersection tool or intersection methodology, but it's something that we find that it complements our way of thinking and EDGY and enterprise design very well. So we're hoping that this concept flight levels is something that we can bring into the intersection and EDGY world within the near future. So there are a lot of things in the pipeline, but it takes a little bit of
that's
time.
already a sneak preview. I've also heard some rumors that some people are working on an EDGY 26 version, but please keep it as a secret. So lots of ideas, and it seems as if the phases like this focus explore will be part of EDGY soon, and also the flight levels. Yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe one tool that is not so obvious, and I find it super creative, Aero. So thank you for donating this wonderful design wheel as a contrast. I think the stakeholder map, it's not surprising. Nobody will buy enterprise design and EDGY because we can model a stakeholder map. That's super boring because everybody does it already with pen and paper. Why do I need
EDGY? It's not super boring, but it's a little bit simple.
It's exciting. It's simple. It's a super powerful, exciting tool. But it's nobody. Oh wow, they have a stakeholder map. No, and the enterprise design wheel, on the other hand, also by Aero, is something colorful. And that helps you to get guidance on exploring a design challenge holistically. So that's can serve as a source of inspiration when you start somewhere, and you can use it as a wheel. You can get some guidance. Where do I need to reframe so I can turn it? The facets represent the sectors, and the enterprise elements on a detailed level. So that means it's a tool you can depict in a meeting room, for example, and you have a tricky design challenge. You're trapped in problem paralysis or analysis paralysis. We don't have any idea, so why not have a look at the wheel? Right? Why not spin the wheel and ask new questions. How do we work and operate? Maybe we forgot to see it from a brand perspective. Maybe we forgot to look at the design challenge from a task perspective. What is what people actually want to get done? I think, Eero, what you've beautifully done here is to show killer questions, so really game-changing questions people can ask in a workshop setting with many people when everything got stuck, to open new spaces and design new spaces. And that tool is very edgy. So that's the idea with the facets, the holistic idea that's new, that's colorful. You have the edgy colors and edgy facets. I just wanted to show that and present that as a contrast to the stakeholder map, because what we want to see over time is existing tools like a stakeholder map, like a Wordly map, and connected to the edgy platform. Now we use Wordly mapping with tasks and capabilities. And on the other hand, we encourage people, if you have any idea, something similar to the wheel or something you can do with Edgy, a certain map that was super helpful in your recent project, whatever, please contact us, share it, let's discuss and bring it together to the sandbox. I think that's the idea.
It's important to think about also that the wheel, the stakeholder maps, and so many of the tools that we have, the primary purpose of these tools, and the scan does the same thing, and many other models and maps for this, is to facilitate discussion. And as we all know, that depending on the people in the room, depending on the purpose of the meeting, depending on the context we're working in, or the project we're working on, or the stage of a project, or whatever we're doing, it's all about facilitating discussion, helping people get on the same page, helping people stay on track, helping people focus, ensuring that we don't go off track, so that we can actually stay within the scope of the initiative that we're working with, and that we consciously we don't forget about things. And that's one of the things about, for example, the wheel, is that it helps us not to forget about something. It's the same for some meetings. It would be better to have the facet diagram. But for many people, that is a little bit alien. It's not something that we really used to. A simple wheel like this is possibly more approachable for many people that are unfamiliar with Edgy. So it's all about finding the right tool, the right model, the right diagram to facilitate the discussion that we have at the moment. And that's one of the things that we have in the sandbox, is multiple ways to actually do that.
Yeah, maybe important information. If you donate something to the sandbox, it becomes Creative Commons, so it's open sourced. And I already copy-pasted this wonderful wheel and used it in a presentation and in a workshop, because the visualization is awesome. And you're correct, it's the facets and the intersections, but it was way better for the audience I had there than only the facet model. So that's what we want to see with Edgy. It's a community project. Feel free to use what's in the sandbox. Feel free to contribute, copy paste the diagram if it's helpful. The idea is to connect practitioners and find a way that you guys, we've been around for 3 or 4 years now with Edgy. We have hundreds of practitioners out there now, that we can create a space that gets more and more automated, where more and more people come in, publish their tools, learn from each other, copy paste some of the tools, maybe edit, change it, use it in a different context, come back, check it in. So it's this typical open source way. Same Unix was created. So some open source software, that's typically how it works. I have an idea for a certain module, I edit it, and then I check it back in. We as Intersection Group must of course learn how to do the review process. On the other hand, we need to attract more and more authors. So we don't have hundreds of people on the sandbox yet, but we have at least 10 authors working on tools. And hopefully over the years, not hopefully, I'm absolutely convinced, of course, we will have more people on the platform, and a process that connects those people in the best possible way, because it's about collaboration and cooperation, right? Okay, I don't know. Any more questions on the chat?
Oh, nothing coming in on the chat.
Nothing coming in.
So it's a question if there's no other questions, if you have something more to add.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything more to add.
Daniel Gona. Daniel Gona is already here. So many well-known names. Cool. Hello, Daniel. So where are my slides? Yeah, my slides.
You're presenting. You're showing the slides right now.
Yeah. So I think, I've shown that before. So that's the idea. Yeah, EDGY, we want to become the true open source platform for enterprise design tools. It's a large vision, I would say, but we believe it's needed because so many tools are living in isolation. Authors of tools and approaches, commercial approaches like SAFe, some are not really interested in connecting because they want to have their bubble and have my claim, which is a pity if you want to co-design enterprises from all perspectives and with many disciplines. We are so scattered. We are so so that I wouldn't say that enterprise design is a mature practice or science compared to medicine or so. Okay, just only some final boring words. If there are no more questions, I only have one slide, just to make you curious. As you can see, we have a new logo and a new web page and a new look and feel. I personally am a fan of it already, so just a promo for a new logo. But maybe even more important is the promo for events page, because thank you, Helgi. Helgi runs our community. He organizes the webinars. He organizes the campfires. The next campfire will be in March 17, as I can see, about enterprise modeling in practice. So insights from a survey. There was a survey in Germany, and we were covered together with BPMN and UML and I don't know, Archimate and so on. So which is, we were getting bigger and bigger and more known. And the guy from Germany who did the survey will present their findings, and we will discuss in a small group of people, typically for the closer network. Usually we don't have hundreds of people there. So that's our campfires. But we have also some webinars. So that's the one for today, the one in the center on the top. But the week after next week is about cross-discipline collaboration and gap spotting with the EDGY profiler. So Milan will do a session on the EDGY profiler, which is one of the tools we have in the sandbox. If you're interested in a tool where you can spot gaps in your design, then please attend this webinar. Whenever you want to see what's going on, a lot is going on thanks to Helgi and the people. I think we've made a huge step forward in our webinars. We have new people, new topics, and every second week a webinar, every second week a campfire. In between, the EDGY, the scan cohort, maybe Helgi, that's your promo, maybe that the enterprise can want to say a couple of words about this one.
Not much to say about it. It's just basically we have now completed a cohort. We have already cohort for the enterprise scan. So that is the second cohort we have. First one is of course that many of you know about is the language. So the scan is the second one. So we're testing that out to see how that works. If you're interested in getting more information about how to apply a scan, how to use it, when to use it, possible downs and pros and cons about it, and getting a better understanding when to use it and the possible and the avoiding the pitfalls, then this is definitely the course for that. So we're building on it, and step by step we're making this a little bit bigger and bigger, and so that we can help more people, which is basically the whole idea. So next time EDGY profiler with Milan. Then of course we have other webinars that are coming also with Jean Sebastian and also Daniel Gona. And there are others on the way, so we're looking forward to continuing that and having every other week until the summer. And
Yeah, I think that's it for today. If you have any comments, questions about the sandbox, or if you want to contribute in whatever way to Intersection Group, so that's the way to go, intersection.group, hello@intersection.group. It's also on a webpage, so it's easy to contact us. If you're not already in our Slack channel, people who know us know how to reach us. So whenever you have a question, have something to donate. Milan, this Milan guy is here. Milan, you want to donate something? I'm not sure. Okay. Hopefully. Yeah, so I think that's it for today. Helgi, yes?
Someone is typing. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
That's cool.
Cool. So thank you all for your attention.
Thank you.
And of course, there will be some Pink Floyd music to find your way
yeah,
out.
hopefully you will find something interesting in the sandbox, and it would be awesome to hear from more of you if you have something to contribute and bring to other people also.
Okay. Yeah. Looking forward to meeting many of you at one of our next events. Thank you.
Thank you.